I just told you it was a pleasure to meet you and that I was from Toronto, and you mentioned a friendship with Marty Short.
Right.
But I assume from your visits, both to the stage of the O'Keefe Center,
right,
your surprise appearances at Yuck Yucks, then your surprise visits to the Second City Fire Hall, you know Toronto and Torontonians rather well.
Yeah, I've had some great times there.
Have you?
Yeah, I had fun playing. Second City was the most fun. Playing with Martin. We improvised there one night. People didn't know. Was that? That's Mork. No, no. We had a great time. That's a great group of people to play with.
I agree.
And the O'Keefe Center was a great stage.
Well, when you can fill it twice and it's got 3,200 seats, you're
it's
doing
a good
something
evening.
well.
Yeah.
That's also, you endeared yourself to Canadians. You know, there's always a sense of possessiveness when people think they noticed something first. And one of your earliest television appearances was on a program called 90 Minutes Live for the CBC.
Oh, yeah.
So Canadian...
Oh, God. Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
No, I just remember doing that. It was a Peter Zosky.
Peter Zosky.
Yeah. I remember because I watched one of the shows, and he had David Bowie and a guy with sheep from Saskatchewan. And the sheep are good. No ground control. It was a great double bill. I had a great time. He was a daring man.
You know, watching Moscow on the Hudson and appreciating the obvious rapport between you and Paul Mazursky, I can't imagine an actor finding a filmmaker who also happens to be an actor, who has the kind of theatrical background when one thinks of the years between 1954 and 60 when Paul Mazursky stood up in nightclubs like the Blue Angel, the Hungry Eye, and worked as a stand-up comedian on his way, he hoped, to playing Hamlet and King Lear. And it must...
Then the Blackboard Jungle.
Well, the Blackboard Jungle, working with Stanley Kubrick, Vic Morrow, the friendships he had, long before he ever made a motion picture. And it must have given the two of you something special, actor, director, and actor.
And also, there's a bond just from being two comedians, too, sometimes. How we survived was to play. Like I would sometimes, during takes, I would become George Jessel. The scene has gone well for you and reason. Or do Nicholson. He likes it when I do Nicholson. I do Nicholson as Vladimir Ivanov. I want to defect right now. It's too damn close for me here. We'd play, and that helps. And also when it came down nuts and bolts, too, we'd have to get down to it, and it was good. Because sometimes we'd have to fight over what we wanted to do in the scene. And he had a good sense of, sometimes we'd have to yell at each other, and after it was over, he said, now we can work? Yeah, you're right, okay. Because we worked in some crazy places, but it was wonderful. Yeah, I do feel good about it. He's like a brother, a crazy, mad brother, but real good.
He said, you were the brother he never had, the son he never had.
Then he said, send me some checks now. God.
He also told, isn't there a wonderful story about being in Munich and your mother, who happens to be an elegant woman, meeting Paul Mazursky and positioning herself in his lap?
Oh, God. My mother's great. She's wonderful. And she... Hi, how are you? You're the director. Bam! It was like, oh, Mama, show me the please, Mama, please. She was great. She got right off the plane, made herself at home. She loved it. I think she wants to be in movies real bad. Oedipus Schmedipus, come on, Mama. Yeah.
You know something else you and Paul Mazursky share in common? You because of your background in education. Paul because he simply said he loved women, was always attracted to them, but was such a slow learner, and did a comparative study saying that casting a movie is like going into marriage, and you had better make sure you've made the right commitment before you begin.
Oh, God.
And you share this with him because you said that you had those years in school where you were the put-upon fat boy who really was a wallflower. Were you?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's fair. I was doing this film, or like you said, making the choice. It's like, for this film I felt real strong because it had an ending. Because it really was the first film I'd read in a long time, and it had like a beginning, it went somewhere, and it had an ending. And actually, I didn't have to worry about saying, we'll fix it. You'll find the ending later. I felt so comfortable with that.
Do you know what else I thought Moscow on the Hudson allowed you to do as an artist? Because you're so involved in, and have spoken often, whether it's the environment, politics, the wrong person, one day pushing the wrong button, that we have a comedy drama, which is about freedom, and allows you within the context of the comedy and the drama to make a statement.
Yeah, that's why I think I did it. And I know that's why I did it. It wasn't that I wanted to examine the other point of view, not in a like a propaganda way of saying like, look, America, America, because it's not that way. I think it shows both sides. I think that America has traps and failings there, But at least there's an opportunity, and to show the other side, to show the Russians as being an incredibly unusual people. Most Americans have no real conception. They just know Russians as being those strange people who do strange things that they read about in the paper, and occasionally one of them dies in their big parades. But that they have an incredibly deep and wonderful emotional life.
Is that how you thought, Robin, before you got to Munich and met all those great Russian artists?
Oh, God. They're incredible. In Munich, there's a huge Russian community. And they're all working for Radio Free Europe. They're all, directors and actors from Leningrad and Moscow. And I think it was more after I met them. But I'd met them. My Russian teacher was my first major influence in that. Because he is a man named David Gomberg. And he taught me, that was the first time I saw, oh, he told me stories about being in America and he had to work as a carpenter. When in Leningrad, he was a very good director, young director, not, hadn't been real famous, but was working. He came to America and he had to work as a carpenter. They used to tell him that a hammer was a screwdriver. And he finally found that out and really got mad. I got in this huge fight. I know this is a goddamn hammer now, asshole. I know this. He got real furious. And telling me these stories, I started to realize, this is going to be interesting.
Do you know what else I thought about you? Because there's so many wonderful scenes in Moscow on the Hudson. But when Vladimir stands in front of that fountain near the Plaza Hotel and takes out his saxophone, and then one thinks of Robin Williams in the early days in
Playing
New York
mime.
City.
Oh, yeah, doing mime.
Doing mime in front of the Metropolitan.
Was
it all there?
Oh, that was all that. Performing on the streets, most kind of like it's starting at the bottom. That's really like taking a chance. When I used to do mime, I did it once, and I had some wonderful experiences playing, and it's like some Puerto Rican kids used to come and say like, "What's wrong, clown? You're so sick. What's wrong with your face? It's so white." And then another lady, I tried to imitate this very elegant woman who looked like she had a bag from like Bendel's or some beautiful, elegant, and a very elegant dog, and I started to imitate her, and she said, "Get the hell away from me." I was like, oops, I realized, don't go too far. But yeah, that's the part of it too. But back to what you said about the film. I think the thing that binds it, that kind of draws him at the end, is that it's the bonds between people that get him through, that give America the possibility, not some vague concept about America, great land of opportunity. It's the chance, the possibility that he might make it, plus the love for her that gives him that hope, whatever. I think that gives that aspect. It's more about the humanness of a country, whatever.
Do you know what I don't think got enough attention? I think your work in Moscow on the Hudson certainly will. But I thought The Survivors
Really?
was gone over once very lightly. And what you and Walter Matthau did, now in retrospect.
I'm still proud of that.
I hope so.
He was fun. He is a wonderful, elegant man. That was a great fun to play with. He had is wonderful aspect. It was too great. It was like the yin and yang brothers, that I'm, crazy to touch him playing off that. And Walter's just so, but real funny and wonderful to play with. And I feel so fond about him and that chance. I mean, I'm glad I had that chance to work with him. It was an incredible experience.
As an artist who shared the same management that Woody Allen does, are you getting any closer to your goal of wanting to make films the way Woody Allen makes films?
Oh, God, I think only he can do that. I think I have no aspirations to direct. I think I should have a T-shirt that says, "No, I don't want to direct." I mean, because it's such an incredible undertaking to do that. I mean, he is, every one of his films is mounted like a secret invasion. And I mean, the dialogue is in pieces. And people get like dialogue sheets, no one knows. "Yes, I love you. Is there anything else? You'll get it tomorrow," I don't know. I think I would way, way down the line think of that, but I have no aspirations like that.
Did you have anonymity in Munich?
Very much so.
Was it because of your physical appearance and the beard?
Or even if I
were
didn't
you
have a beard, most Germans would go. I mean, Mork and Mindy was not exactly a big popular German show. "Quick, Heidi, we must leave here. We must go back for Mork. It's a beautiful city, though, totally rebuilt from after the war. And the river Isar. The strangest thing about Munich is this river goes through the center of the city. And everyone goes swimming nude. There's even nude vendors, like Wieners. This incredible park with nothing but nude people, and you're going like, no, not a German. All healthy people swimming and dancing in the sun. But it was a beautiful city, and I felt very comfortable, which also made it easier to work on the film and really concentrate. There was no distractions.
After the months of work you put into the Russian and playing the saxophone before photography began on Moscow on the Hudson, It's like having two skills now that you didn't have before.
I can wait
And-
for another film to put them all
Yeah,
together.
well, one wonders, what
I'll
do
play
you
a
do to
one-eyed,
keep the Russian?
a one-eyed Russian sailor with big arms who plays the saxophone and has a mother who's very interesting. Now, the world according to Garpie on the Hudson. Surviving the world according to Garpie on the Hudson.
But can you use it, Robin? I mean,
Yes.
do you know Russians in
Yeah.
California?
Oh, very much so. I mean, my Russian teacher and Ilya, Sava, all the people I've acted with, I still keep in contact with them. And it's been an interesting thing. I'm trying to keep learning how to read and write Russian, because they said, you know, you read translations of... I'm very interested in an author called Bulgakov, who wrote Master and the Margarita, but who also wrote a wonderful story that I think would make a great movie called Heart of a Dog, about a dog that's they transfer this human pineal gland into, and he becomes a man, but eventually becomes the head of the Moscow Center, and then he starts launching this campaign against cats, and then becomes a dog again later on. But it's a wonderful Russian, strange political satire story. But they said to read it in the original Russian, you capture the humor of it. But a lot of the translations break it down, and you can't see it, and you say, this isn't funny. But I'd like to do that. That'd be great.
Is there a new film in the works? Have you discussed a
for a
new
while.
feature?
Just trying to write one, trying to sit down and actually... That's what you asked, only in the sense of being like Woody Allen, I'd like to try and write one. I don't think I'd want to direct one, but I think I'd like to try and be responsible for actually taking the blame for saying if it doesn't have an ending, yeah, it's my fault, I didn't write it. But to actually take that chance. That's what the next step is.
When you had your first meeting with Paul Mazursky, how much did you know about Paul Mazursky, his background, his films? Had you seen them all?
I saw The Tempest, which I thought some of it was... He said this to me, too. He saw The Survivors, too, before. He said, it was nice, you pushed. I said, fine, I saw The Tempest, a little long. And then they were off. Like, but we had a good time talking about it. I think he's brilliant. I think sometimes he can sometimes he can go stretch things out. But with The Tempest, I love the fact he takes chances. That's why he's great to work with. I mean, no matter what you say, the man took a chance. I mean, in each one of his films, you can't look at them and say, like, that's commercial. You know, I mean, they may make money or whatever, but he's trying to talk about something, trying to do something with them, which is what I like.
Did you see Next Stop, Greenwich Village?
No, I didn't.
Which I always think of as one of the actors' movies.
Oh, he's...
And also because Lenny
if you talk
Baker
to
was
most
so
people,
great.
yeah, he is outrageous. I met him about a couple of months before he died.
Mm-hmm.
But you can sense even then, he had that real incredible presence. Paul, a lot of people have talked... I asked a lot of people about Paul before I did the film, just to find out what he was like, the pros and cons. And everybody I talked to said, it'll be a real interesting time. Margot Kidder recommended him with like 8 stars.